We're live on the SideQuest, your weekly journey into the beautiful, beautiful world of video games, video game culture, and everything in between. Here I am adjusting my own camera because I should have done that
Video
earlier.
games and video game culture and everything in between.
Everything in between.
There's nothing in
There's
between.
nothing in
It's empty, as empty as most of the people that participate in it.
As empty as my head. My head belongs to at Dolly Demofsky. It's Dolly. Hey, it's Dolly. The person above me is Taylor Bliss. Hey, everybody say hi to Taylor. Hi, Taylor.
Hey guys.
To my left, your right, the one, the only Zach. Okay, Quest.
He bites.
Hi,
by the way.
Hi, Zach.
And the person right up there who did a very, very funny meme and had like 4 likes.
Yeah.
On Twitter.
Ooh.
The one, the only.
This
JJ.
tweet doing numbers.
Doing numbers. How's it going, everybody?
Hi, JJ. It's going.
Hi, JJ.
Hi, JJ.
Pretty good. I'm watching a Sonic Frontier stream.
Oh boy!
Oh,
Game
boy.
of the year. Higher rating than Elder
Super Mario Odyssey.
I can't wait to talk about this.
We're gonna have a lot of fun talking about.
I can't wait to leave.
Yeah, you and I both. I'm gonna leave before you start talking, Taylor, which is great because
I recommend that as well.
Down the rabbit hole. But yeah, hey, you guys having a good time?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think so.
That's good.
Yeah.
We are.
Can never be too sure.
Yeah, it's true. You can never be too sure. We are in the thick of all the big, giant, massive game releases. I mean, there's just not enough hours in the day for all these hits. HITZ. No, in reality, I think we had a couple in October, and then we had like a little bit of a lull, and then now we're like the next week, last week, and this week are it basically.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of shit that was released last week, and there's a lot of big shit releasing this week too. That we'll talk about.
There's a lot of stuff. The rest of this month.
Yeah. We've got gaming news. We've got reviews, and
name me one thing that was news. One
I
thing.
can't think of anything.
I want one news, Dally.
Give me one news.
All right, I'm getting the news ready. You guys ready? Let me get the web page set up because that would be news.
Seems like you're wasting some time.
I got dry mouth over here waiting for this news.
I guess so. Okay, the news is, or do you guys want to start with the apology? We'll do the news first, then we'll do my apology.
Okay.
Because I have an apology.
You sure you don't want to just get it out of the way?
No.
You don't.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm sure.
Okay.
Hey guys, guess what?
What?
The Game Awards have announced.
Woo!
They've announced. Watch the nomination. Where were the nominees? We'll click here. Hey, there's the Game Awards. All categories. Announced their games for the awards show. How about that?
Yeah.
We all saw this, watched it live happen. None of us watched this happen live. We just saw the tweets afterwards. This is not. Sorry, Jeff. This is not the Oscars. This is not the Academy of Arts and Sciences or whatever. It's not the music thingy. It is just. Sorry, there's some gunk on here. It is just the Game Awards. And here you go. Game of the year. There was. It was hotly contested. Ragnarok had the most nominations, followed by. Get out of there. Followed by Elden Ring and Horizon.
What was the source of the nominations? Is this like
a panel? They have a
panel.
Okay. Panel. But yeah, let me shrink this. Let me minimize. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go. These are your Game of the Year nominees. Plague Tale, Elden Ring. You can read it. Okay. Thoughts. We've actually had some thoughts. THOTS in the Discord about what our choices would have been, but first and foremost, just overall, what are your thoughts on this collection? This is
Game of
almost
the
all
Year.
sequels. It's almost all-
It's not even the sequels. It's the fact that it's Game of the Year, the open world adventure edition. Like there is one defining characteristic about all of these games that now they're not all necessarily role playing games. They're not all necessarily action games. They all, however, are all open world adventure in orientation primarily. And then, the gameplay follows after that. It's like, how could I not put an open world adventure game? There's so much content in it, which I feel like is, I don't know, kind of a drag, because I feel like we got past that a few years ago.
Yeah, I feel like all the nominees across the board are like lackluster. I don't know. We'll talk about it as we go along, but yeah, it's kind of disappointing for there to not be like some kind of like dark horse like here.
Yeah. Stray is the closest thing they have to a dark horse in this thing.
But Stray sold like 4 million copies or something.
And
it sold like really like well.
And
Stray didn't exactly do. Well, yeah, it's not exactly a non-starter or non-performer.
Yeah.
It's so every once in a while where there's like an Academy Awards where every nominee for Best Picture feels like it was like, oh, these were all handcrafted movies to win the Academy Award this year.
Forrest Gump.
Yeah, and it's just like, this is just like if you were writing a movie about something like these would be the games nominated in the fucking.
Well, what I think is weird is they're allowing God of War Ragnarok to be in here.
Yeah, people are gonna play
this
game for like
just
a week.
Came out.
Yeah.
Like this reminds me of whenever they first did the Game Awards and Dragon Age Inquisition won, and it was like it came out that month too. Yeah. It's like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
like,
think about how big Elden Ring is and how much time it took people to see it. And how little time reviewers got to play it, and if it released at the same time, would it still
no, 100% no.
You know what I mean? And like it's one of those things where Elden Ring only kind of, I mean, obviously there was so much actual hype. Thank you, Game Awards, for it, by the way, over the last 3 years. But I don't know. It's odd that it was able to do so easily to make it on here.
So I have a hot take. I don't know if it's a hot take, but I think Elden Ring, out of all these choices, is the most video game. If you know what I'm saying, like it has. It's it's
the most game you're gonna play, and the least amount of experience that that happens to be a video game.
Yeah, like it feels like if I think about what makes gaming good, Elden Ring has almost all of it. These other games have pieces of that, because they're games, but Elden Ring has is the full package for like what a game should be. So like,
what's your number two? Because I know what my number two is.
I mean, I would say Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah, it's definitely Xenoblade. It's like the number two most gamey game on the list.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
God of War and Horizon Forbidden West are virtually the same game. Like,
one is. I was watching.
It's so bizarre, but it is.
There's somebody with an arrow on both, a bow and arrow on both of those. Yeah.
There's someone with a bow and arrow on both of them. Everyone talks a lot on both of them. It's snowing.
Honestly, Plague Tale Requiem is kind of like just like the Microsoft Studios version of both of them. Like they're like, all right, now what if we took the same idea and put it in Microsoft published it instead?
Well, it's like God of War is a Disney ride. Like that's what God of War is. It just kind of shuttles you down this like line.
It's a theme park attraction. Yeah,
and that's what makes Sony games what they are. They're all these Universal Studios like Rise.
Yeah.
Horizon is at least there's stuff to do besides walk down the hallway. Like so
that's true.
I don't know.
It is the most open worldy of them.
I like God of War, but it is definitely like the least interesting video game of the bunch.
So who's playing God of War? Is it YouTube are playing God of War?
I mean,
I'm not playing God of War. I'm watching people play it, and I'm like,
I have put in almost nothing in the God of War so far.
So I mean, here's my thing is that I think that bye Lisa. I think that
By the way,
2018
shout
got
out
up.
to Lisa, our number one fan.
She is our number one fan. That is
She's here
true.
more often than Zach is. I think she's an honorary member of our podcast.
The one thing I will say is that the inclusion of God of War 2018 made I don't know, it just was a more impactful game because back then it wasn't already done, right? I mean, like, and that's the weird part about some of the inclusions of the sequels is that they hadn't already been done.
Yeah.
God of War Ragnarok and for Horizon Forbidden West are repeats of games that were already done.
Yeah.
Yes, the content obviously within it is new, but the vast majority of the ideas and the games that have been developed are not by comparison.
Like, I've talked about it a little bit on because I got Plague Tale for a review copy of Plague Tale. That's a great story. I really enjoyed my time with Plague Tale, but it's the exact same game. It is the exact same game as the previous one. The story's better, but like again, it's by the time you're at the end of that game, you're like, I've been playing this exact same thing for years now. Like literally, like this is a game that came out a handful of years ago, and now I'm just playing more of it, and it's. Elden Ring was the only thing on this list that really just felt like wholly unique in its own approach to being a video game.
I just want to preface this by saying there's nothing wrong with like a hallway simulator walking game. I love those games, but like if I want to talk about the best game, the game has to be a game. Like there has to be something else there besides the story. Like I don't play God of War for the story. I play it for but so God of War used to, I'd play it for the gameplay, and then now I play it for the story. And then it's like, because
the original God of Wars played well, but had a shitty story, and now they have a great story and play like shit.
Yeah. It's what's interesting is that. Oh, by the way, Zach, did you actually post the video link in our so people can watch?
And where?
You did. You have the event details in there. But,
I mean, I can copy.
Oh, you got the Twitch. One person is interested. Okay. Sorry. Continue. It's you. It's me. Anyways,
maybe some actual links will be helpful, but that's okay.
No,
we'll next time. Listen, we're new to the podcasting thing, to the social media thing, to the website thing. It's all
what even is
we're
social
still
media? Am I right?
Yeah, we're still catching up to it.
What's Twitter?
I don't. Nobody knows anymore. Actually.
Yeah.
Anyways,
do we want to talk about any other ones, or we're just gonna
zip through them? Let's just zip through them.
Let's just zip through them, see if we got anything to say.
Because it's the only news story.
I think
there are a couple other ones, but we'll get to them.
No.
I think Danny O'Dwyer. So Danny O'Dwyer had an interesting point. Let me find it real quick.
Happy to see Immortality on something though.
Mm-hmm. That's
if you're gonna talk about game direction, you want to talk about a game that actually has the most direction in it. It might be Immortality.
Immortality actually is something that has like a very obvious director.
Granted, I feel like we can't harp on God of War Ragnarok being a story tunnel and not also credit it for how much direction it has, because there's a lot of it.
It's only got the one direction though, and that's
forward.
It's all one take, which is like
it's a single hallway fight.
Best narrative. Okay.
Yeah, these are all right for that.
Did they only have a list of 10 games to choose from?
That's what I said. There's only like the 6 games that were released, and then
because so we're I saw this list, and I admittedly I did not go and actually look at all of the categories on the site. So I just complained. But that's the important thing number one to do. But the one thing I called out is a game like Norco. And like the fact that a game like Norco doesn't make it onto best narrative is kind of weird.
Okay, ridiculous. Here's the way let me flip back here real quick. These are the 6 games. Game of the year. Go ahead, pick whatever one you want out of those. from here on out, pick the game that's not part of those original 6 games.
Yeah.
Right?
Immortality, that wins here.
Repeats,
Nope.
all of them.
Wins again. Look at that. Best art direction. Scoring.
Scoring.
Gotta win.
Scorn, yeah, baby.
Go back.
Let's see. Metal Hellsinger, that wins.
For best score?
Okay, so let's see. Okay, so go back again. Okay, go back again.
Zach!
So best game direction and best. So why is Immortality not in the game of the year? It's why is it not in there?
Because all awards shows are made up bullshit.
JJ's got a point. He's got a
No,
point.
you can't ruin it.
No, he's
for
got a
me.
point. He's got a
You can't ruin
point.
it for me. I voted for scoring on best art, by the way.
It's certainly the most interesting. You can not like it, but it's the most interesting by far. It's the most standout of all of them.
I couldn't tell you a single thing about
Bro,
the
why
score
Best-
of Plague
wait.
Tale.
Best audio design, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I bet you that every competitive player would disagree. Where are those footsteps coming from? Tell me.
Gran Turismo is probably going to win.
I mean,
Yeah.
because they at least, we know they put too much time into their audio design in Gran Turismo game.
No, the Call of Duty team, one of the guys who's like the head audio guy is one of my friends on Twitter. I don't know. I think we were talking about East together once. Anyways, we follow each other, and I see him working so hard on these audio things and posting all this nerd stuff. So I assume that they work hard on the audio design. I don't know.
I mean, here's the thing. Every single one of these teams works harder on the audio. Like they're here for a reason.
Yeah.
We got to keep going. Keep going.
Good.
We're already at 15 minutes.
Best performance, Immortality.
All the same people.
I voted for Immortality. Yeah.
Games for Impact. Okay, these are
Citizen
games that
Sleeper.
these are video games.
these are video games.
Yo, games for show me the description for a thought-provoking.
Where's Norco?
Yeah.
How is Norco still not? This is the Norco category.
For a thought-provoking game that is not Norco with a pro-social meeting or message.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I can't believe that this category exists without Norco on it.
Best ongoing game.
I mean, the best ongoing game is just like, this is just an excuse to give Final Fantasy 14 another award, to be honest.
Fortnite the win, it seems like every year for the longest time. Listen what's
Fortune
not
won
on
last year.
here. Overwatch, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, there's no Blizzard games, which is like
No Blizzard games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Best
Best indie, actually not a bad category or a selection of.
I'd say, okay, here's what I say. Drop Stray. Hello,
Yep.
it's in everything else. Add something else in there.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean,
Norco.
at the same time, though, like, how do you not? If you're going to classify Stray as an indie, how are you going to not put it in this category and nominate it as Game of the Year? Right? It's kind of, it's kind of messed up.
Yeah. I mean, every single one of these games is phenomenal. Like I'm wearing a Cult of the Lamb shirt right now, so obviously
Cult of the Lamb was really good.
I love Neon White.
JJ
I still
of the
go back
Lamb.
to Neon White. Yeah.
Hey, guess what, guys?
What?
From
Oh,
Sex
sick.
Info, it said,
Yeah.
"Find your love in U City." Thank
In
you
U
for-
City.
Wait,
I like
this
that
is
one's got a
green
check mark. Yeah.
That means they're verified.
Yeah.
Awesome.
They paid the $8.
They paid the $8.
Yeah. I'm gonna block that user for right now.
I'm glad that Lisa
We need
wasn't
to-
here to see that.
We need to
right.
We need to disable some microsystems.
Microsystem.
Best mobile game. I voted
Mobile
for
game.
Marvel Snap
Okay,
because
Marvel
that's
Snap.
a good one.
Let me say this: out of these,
It's a
best
Yice
mobile
category. I thought you guys told me there was no Blizzard games.
Hold on, yeah.
Oh,
Best mobile
yeah.
game. This is a AAA release.
Yeah.
AAA release. I guess you could say Genshin Impact is really popular in
100%. It's
mobile.
a AAA game, dude.
Yeah.
Marvel Snap.
That studio is
yeah. And
That
so,
studio
I mean,
runs China. Like,
Yeah.
I think Marvel.
Yo-yo
I think
or what?
Marvel Snap maybe. I freaking love
Pseudo.
Marvel Snap. I think it's
Yeah.
So.
I mean, but that's what mobile games have become, right? That's what they've.
I never think about Apex Legends Mobile as a game existing.
I didn't realize it was a separate thing.
I'm surprised Call of Duty Mobile isn't on here as a
community support. This one's probably going to be Fortnite. This isn't a bad list, though. I don't think
it's not a bad list. No,
I mean,
No Man's Sky is kind of badass because they are all about their community.
Yeah. What a good game.
Innovation, accessibility. This is interesting. To me, it's I would actually say The Last of Us Part 1.
That's what I said. Yeah.
People are actually noting some of the issues right now with God of War Ragnarok, especially
don't bring it up.
Are you talking about the accessibility option to make them not solve the puzzles for you?
Basically.
Among Us VR just came out. How is this in there?
Literally like less than a week ago.
Yeah, I feel like I would be surprised if they had enough panelists that have actually regularly play VR games to be able to notch this one out.
I don't know much about VR games, but I know that Bone Lab is something special, so that's why I voted for it.
Bone Lab is definitely the one on this list.
Yeah.
Which of these have you played? Have you played, JJ? Any of
Among Us and Bone Lab.
Okay.
I played the original Moss. That's a great game.
Moss was one of our games of E3, and I remember them essentially crying when we gave them the award. So
Moss is great, but it's not game of the year. It's just more Moss. I mean,
best action game. I'm gonna say Bayo. I'm sorry, Call of Duty. Here's a shooter.
How are we calling Call of Duty an action? Oh my god! I love the dilution.
Neon White an action game?
I don't know.
I voted for Sifu.
Sifu's a good choice. My vote's gonna go for Bayo. This is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, Turtles is great.
Turtles is great. Yeah.
Bro, it's the same game. Get them out of here. I'm sick of this guy.
How about best action adventure game?
Tunic. I'm voting for Tunic out of all of these.
It has to be. Actually, and it unironically also was the best. Like, if you're talking about going into a game and having an adventure and you don't pick Tunic, then you didn't play Tunic.
Yes.
Or you don't like puzzles, in which case you don't like video games.
Right now, that's in my GOTY Challenger list, personal.
Yeah.
Best role-playing game. All right.
I mean, it's definitely not Pokemon.
Correct.
Triangle strategy.
Not Triangle. I mean, it seems.
I mean, this is kind of like a race between two games.
Yeah,
it's Xenoblade and Elden Ring. If we're gonna call Elden Ring, I mean, yes, Elden Ring is by definition RPG because it has XP and levels.
Hard definition, the RPG. Like that's just kind of what it is.
Yeah.
All right.
A couple more here. Best fighting
game.
Dude,
okay. Listen,
this one's fucking.
How is
hard.
Sifu an action game and also a fighting game?
Yeah,
it's not a fighting game. It's a fighting game in the sense that the people fight in the game.
There's one.
I mean, it's 1v1, but not against another.
So I voted for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Why the game that already came out many years ago? Very classy of you.
I mean,
I was like,
every one of these is a good fighting game. Like when the King of Fighters game is the worst of the group, that's really saying a lot.
Well, like the JoJo one, I voted for it because I'm like, okay, if the JoJo fans see this, they're gonna vote for it. So I'm just gonna vote. I'm just gonna
like Multiverses is a really good fighting game.
Really good.
It really is.
Multiverses might be the best of this list, actually.
Yeah,
I think so too.
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, DNF Duel is one of those fighting games that is so
here's
not accessible to anyone that's voting in the Game Awards.
That's why do not fucking
know.
Duel, right? Out of these games, Sifu and Multiverses, they won't be played this time next year. I mean, they're as cool as they are. I think they're
Here's the thing: Sifu's a single player roguelike.
Exactly.
It's not on the. It's like there's it. I'm not even going to include it in this argument because it's not supposed to be on this list.
King of Fighters will be at Evo. JoJo's might be. JoJo and DNF might be.
JoJo probably will not be.
Might not be either.
Arc System Works is going to release their actual, like, DNF Duel is like their in between game. They're going to release their actual. They're going to release their actual big game.
Actually, no, Multiverse out is the winner.
I would say King of Fighters doesn't really have that much of a
Best family game. Was this category there last time?
Yeah, they always. This is the best.
This is the Nintendo category.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna say this. My guy right here. This is a bad. This is a good. Why was this not under action adventure? Because it is.
It's a good fucking game.
That actually should have been.
It should have been under fighting game. What are you talking about?
I would put Mario and Rabbids in there. It should have been under fighting game.
Switch Sport's actually a bad video game.
Yeah, it shouldn't be on any of them.
The Lego Star Wars game is very, very good, but it is just a fucking Lego Star Wars. They did some new things, but it's
a Devil May Cry game hidden within a Lego game.
Dude, I love the week-long Twitter discourse talking about the weird shit that you could do where you just traverse the map with combos. That was actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then there was a game that was out. My Peppa Pig isn't in this, or was that last year?
Next category.
Next category: best sim or strategy game.
Dune Spice Wars that game's not out yet.
I was about to say, is that out?
It's EA. Okay.
Yeah, so it should.
All right.
So I would say I would put Mario in there because that's a
Victoria 3 just came out, didn't it?
Yeah, Victoria 3 just came out.
Yeah.
Everyone is.
It's gonna be one of these two. 2 Point Campus.
Victoria 3.
No, it's gonna be Total War.
It'll be Total
Warhammer. Watch.
The Warhammer fans are real.
They are. What's his face? Is it Henry Cavill?
Sports.
Sports and racing.
I excuse myself from this conversation.
I think FIFA will probably win because it's soccer, but whatever.
And it's
Ollie Ollie World.
FIFA.
Yeah, Ollie Ollie World wasn't as fun as the previous Ollie Ollie games, so
it won't be F1. F1's a good game. But I think the only reason it's on here is because everybody was really excited about that season, last year. Yeah. That's why everybody.
Yeah. F1 racing has become this thing in America this last year.
This is the last FIFA, and FIFA's a solid game. Yeah. NBA 2K3 is, I think, it's the best one so far. But I have, Gran Turismo is huge.
It's Gran Turismo. So.
It's like the most like polished and newest feeling game on the list.
It could win.
Best multiplayer.
There we go. It's Overwatch.
There's Overwatch.
Look at their visual choices. Okay, cool. Yeah, cool. Death.
Ghost. What?
Ain't gonna be Overwatch. I don't think it'll be multiverses because it's so small.
Splatoon 3 has a good chance.
Splatoon 3 actually.
I think it's Splatoon and Call of Duty are the top two.
So, yeah.
Turtles has no chance in hell.
No chance.
Unfortunately, yeah. Yeah. Content creator of the year. It's Nibel.
No,
I love Nibel. Nibel's great, but
noted content creator.
I can't believe that I knew 3 of the 5 people here.
Yeah, that's a rarity.
I know 2. I know Ludwig.
I only
know Ludwig because of what you've posted, Zach.
Because of Zach.
Yeah.
And then Ludwig's girlfriend's over there too.
Yeah.
QT Cinderella.
Yeah, that's it. Which is the only reason why I know she is. If you want to be honest,
I was gonna say Nibelian is Ludwig's.
If only
is a Minecrafter.
I want.
I'll never know any of them. There's like a mandatory inclusion of at least one Minecrafter, and I will never know who they are.
Yeah.
Okay. Best debut indie.
There's Norco finally.
There's Norco. This sucks because you got Norco and you got Vampire Survivor.
Why are we differentiating between a debut indie and best? No. I mean, are we saying like because it's the first game from a studio?
It's the first game from the studio. Yeah.
Angel Matrix is made by people who've made games before.
I know.
So is Stray. Stray, I think, is made by people who made games before, and I think Tunic as well.
Tunic is
This is like that scenario where it's like, made by the top 18 developers previously at Activision. They went out and made an indie studio, and then they released this game and best debut.
In this sense, shouldn't Marvel Snap be in that fucking category too?
No, I was gonna say Norco is made by I think it's made by 2 people, and Vampire Survivors was made by 1 dude. So
this one,
Tunic was one guy initially as well.
This one's such a fucking layup that
it's a layup for Arcane.
This is the let's make Riot happy.
It should be Cyberpunk because that's
Right.
absolutely the best, but
Most anticipated game. The Jason Schreier thing was awesome because
Legend of Zelda award.
the Zelda award. And I think it will.
I can't believe that it was previously on the list as sequel to Breath of the Wild, and now here
Yes.
it was so predictable that it literally just showed up.
Final Fantasy 16 is gonna win.
It's not.
Hogwarts Legacy is on there, guys. Just no Hogwarts Legacy.
Best
esports game.
No
Interesting.
Overwatch. Hell
Right,
yeah.
Hoorah.
Yeah, actually, the inclusion of one of the quote unquote largest esports organized esports scenes being Overwatch not being included in here is
Yeah.
But they put again. We got to make Riot happy. Let's put a couple of Riot games on.
No, Valorant is inarguably a larger esports game than Overwatch is right now, even though OWL exists.
Yeah.
And
But I would definitely would have put Overwatch in there. I think.
and Valorant is a huge VTuber game. So.
Is it?
Really? All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I wouldn't know. I still
So
have
is
I still have our
Apex.
VTuber chat
know these
absolutely muted.
I know
Okay,
one of
I'm confused by these.
I know
by
one
the
of these guys.
What's the category?
It's
best
best
athlete.
Esport athlete. Scroll down again.
Here's
All right.
the
I mean, I know Simple.
Yeah, I know some.
CS:GO, League of Legends. Well, I mean, I know Faker.
Yeah, I know Faker. Yeah,
Faker's a big deal.
Those are the
Faker,
those are the two I know.
Well, so the
Alright.
thing that's weird to me is
Oh, actually, I know
Gen G-
Kerrigan too.
I
So
don't.
Gen G, Chovy, and they show up later on too, but it's like, why are they here and not the people who won like Worlds? Like, why aren't their team here? Like,
Yeah,
Gen G's here.
Nobody who won Worlds. Nobody who
Your
won
best
the
esports team.
again. I mean, like, listen. I know that the international was kind of a bust from many of the fans, but like no inclusion of any of the
Right.
Dota 2 esports athletes or teams that won the international is kind of weird.
Yep.
Here's his best esports team, and then you got
Like LATs for Call of Duty. I don't like name me what like there's got to be 5 people that know who would have won a Call of Duty tournament. I don't know. It's not
Yeah.
that big of a scene.
how about the best coach? Didn't even know there were coaches. Shows you how far back I am.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you're
it.
yeah, no, you actually yeah, no, you're kind of
I
like
know-
being
I know
you're
there
being
are.
you're being ancient right now.
I am.
I need
Yeah.
you to come on, step up.
And
All
then,
sports teams have
best
coaches.
Esports event.
Um,
I think this is the let's give Riot
What
the
a
world.
weird award to exist. Like
It is a
it's
weird
like
award to
award
exist.
for the
It's
award.
yeah, this is the Obama meme where he's like giving the medal to himself.
yeah.
There you go. There you go.
All right, what's the real news? Hit me.
The real news. This one is actually a little bit of a downer. Not a little bit of a downer, a massive downer, a heartbreaking downer, and that sucks. Kevin Conroy,
Kevin Conroy.
Well,
the
yeah.
Batman, the Batman.
Best Batman
That's
to ever do it.
The only
By
Batman.
far.
Yeah.
By far.
I mean, yeah, just about.
Yeah.
Yep. So rest in peace, 66. I think cancer is what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What he passed of, but
He
he
made-
legend and
He, if we were not talking about video games, tip, he made Arkham Asylum what
Yeah.
it was by lending his voice to it.
Yeah.
Really big part of what brought those games true to life
yeah,
in a lot of ways.
completely agree. Completely agree.
Troy
He-
Baker
he-
did a good job.
Kevin Conroy fundamentally understood the heart of Batman, understood that even though Bruce Wayne and Batman are two separate entities, that they're both also the same guy. Everyone has to separate them
Yeah.
so significantly, but Kevin never really did that. I love it. He is the voice of Batman when I read a comic book.
Yeah.
It's Kevin Conroy's voice in my head that rings through and will always will
Yep.
be.
Yep. So yeah, rest in peace. Finally, one little bit of actually happy news. We're gonna end on some happy news, and that is that I guess after 25 years, 10-year-old Ash is still 10-year-old Ash, but now he's 10-year-old Ash, the greatest. He's the world champion, best of the
Finally.
best. finally won.
Yeah, now that he assembled his OP team.
Yeah.
Let me just say this.
Got my
Pikachu is so strong.
The timing of this, that they timed it perfectly with the new Pokemon game coming out, is
it's almost like it's a highly planned multimedia franchise.
Yeah.
Almost. No, but for them to have him do this and lead into that game, I think is just yet another way that they're gonna market and sell the crap out of stuff. So, but yeah, no, it's
almost like they're a highly organized multimedia franchise.
It's really like it's always like it's so weird that Marvel is releasing a new Secret Invasion series.
Weird.
I wonder what's happening in the MCU.
It's a mystery.
It's weird that Kang has been popping up in the comics.
Really weird, really weird.
Who's that Gameloft guy?
I think that's it for news. I wanted to get into something before I play my games and talk about the game that I've been playing, because I haven't played one game. I haven't apologized. All right, so
good.
Second time. Okay, so y'all have seen. Okay, so I woke up from a NyQuil-induced stupor on Sunday morning. Took a look back at my tweet from the past and realized I need to make this apology. After all, and you guys, I had people say stuff to me, and rightfully so. The Steam Deck is all right. The Steam Deck is all right. You know what?
I would like to retract my previous statement, and under no circumstances.
No, I've been playing the Steam Deck more often with the hourly updates that they do to the OS and everything, and no, it is my second most played device now. Well, I'm not counting my Marvel Snap machine here. The Switch because of review games. The Steam Deck also because of review games, and getting Steam codes has forced me to play more Steam Deck stuff, which is the Ouroboros, right? I wouldn't have. I usually just auction that crap off to you guys, or if I'm just playing on the computer, and as soon as I'm done, I'm not much of a PC gamer because I hate sitting in one spot this close to a screen. I like to move around my house. Okay, I've mentioned it before. And so, yeah, I still definitely have issues with it. It's still not for everybody by far, and it's still not a mass consumer device. It's not comparable yet to consoles because of the back end, all that kind of stuff. We know that, and I've mentioned that in the past. But I think it is the premier entry into PC gaming by far, and for folks that are remotely interested in PC gaming, I would get I can wholeheartedly say get the Steam Deck, because they're available now. You order it, and you're gonna get it at some point in the next few weeks. So that's it. Steam Deck is good. That's my apology. But
I'm picturing the drill tweet of the
apology
not
accepted.
Under any circumstances, gotta hand it to him.
You know what? But I did want to get into the game that I've been playing. And this is part of this podcast is going to be a retro heavy podcast. And Jade is going to talk about something that he can finally talk about. I'm going to talk about something first. And that is, I have also been playing a retro game for review. I've been playing the Oregon Trail. I got a review code.
I was very, very interested in this. I did not know you were playing it.
This game's actually a year, almost 2 years old, year and a half old at least, because it showed up it was on Apple Arcade. They brought it over to Switch. Almost, exactly the same game. The only difference is, and this is where I have my one major gripe. It's not fucking touchscreen on the Switch, and you want this game to be touchscreen, which the buttons are designed, the UI is designed to be touchscreen, but it's not touchscreen. And when you're hitting select, sometimes you have to press B or X or A in order to select certain things. Anyways, let me talk real quick about Oregon Trail. Oregon Trail was the first PC game that I ever madly fell in love with. It was like 85, 86. We had we were just getting into computers. Let me restart this sucker so I can kill these 2 minutes. Just getting into computers in elementary school. We had the Apple IIGS. I remember the computers lined up, learning how to use a mouse. And the Oregon Trail was the game that once you completed your assignment in computer class, which was basically learning to type, and Mavis Beacon teaches typing and all that kind of stuff, you got to play the Oregon Trail, and you could die of dysentery if you really wanted to. So I played the Oregon Trail back then. I played it then on Commodore 64, and then it kind of fell away because PC gaming advanced quite a bit past it. But this was really the first sort of adventure game that I ever played, the first sim game that I ever played, the first roguelike, because there are definitely roguelike elements in this.
The first person shooter.
The first person shooter action game that's going to be an award winner.
In a way, it's like, it's a survival. It's Rust before Rust.
It's right. I mean, it interesting. Like, you could pull a lot of games out of this, because it's such a mix of genres. However, okay, so
almost like a lot of people have the same experience
exactly
in the game. It's cool,
but I am really enjoying it, not because it's the same game over again, but it is the same game over again. I'm enjoying it because they definitely did a faithful reproduction of what Oregon Trail is. Now there's so again, for those who don't know, there's your party of 4 people, and you're making it from Independence, where you start, all the way to Oregon, and you can, you're trying to survive. You can hunt. Your people are gonna get sick. You can get robbed. You can cross rivers. Your wagon can bust. You got to have.
I always chose the doctor. Who'd you guys pick?
They have a doctor in this, so you can actually mix it up because you can get a doctor, you can get priests, you can get carpenters, you get all.
Yeah, but when you played originally, what was your go-to?
Way to dodge the question, Dally.
It was a doctor. It was a doctor. Because
JJ?
Of the healing, yeah.
I mean, yeah, the healing, the doctor. Although, easy mode was always being like the banker, like the.
Zach, you're a Zoomer, so you never played Oregon Trail, so I'm not going to ask you.
No, I played
Oregon is a state.
Yeah, sure you did, buddy.
It's just below. It's 2 hours south of me.
Yeah, there you go. The Oregon Trail is from JJ too.
Cutscenes and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have the little handheld one they put out a couple of years ago.
That one's cool. They've taken everything from the classic game and given it, obviously a modern wash to it with the visual style. Yeah. You can actually see in this view really nice artwork, just kind of real clean artwork for the characters, and then they do the fun, a lot of the text boxes, a lot of the text.
Don't like it.
I love it. I think it's awesome. You get to some of the visuals, like when they're walking around here, it's HD 2D, baby. I love it.
Don't like it.
It feels like it feels like forcefully pixelated, like this, especially like with the text. Yeah, but like the art clashes because you have these clean lines on the portraits, and then hybrid pixelated.
I would much rather this look. I would much rather the entire game look like this smooth hand drawn thing, or have it look like Live Alive. I don't want. I don't want it in between.
HD 2D Oregon Trail remake.
I'm okay with this look though, because I think while this
happy
looks
for
nice, I wouldn't want it to be all like that, because I like this kind of classic. For a nostalgic dude like me, I like this kind of little fun little tie-in to those. I mean, even down to look at this, look at the cart, right, and look at that kind of stuff. But
I thought you were a designer.
Yeah, I thought you were a designer.
They also have, guess what? Resident Evil 4. There's the management thing.
Finally,
this is actually unironically a good addition.
Yeah,
it is.
This game needed this.
This game needed this. No, and it's cool because obviously you have to manage clothing, which prevents you from getting sick in a lot of places. Where
do I put my rosary?
I don't know. What's amazing is with as big of a wagon that you have, if you have like 6 rosaries, you can't fit anything else in there.
It is nice to know that a 200 I don't know, pork is the same as like 2 Bibles.
Well, I don't know. What do I pick? 200 porks or 3 saw kits? I don't like. Oh my
So
god!
they
That's going to be the title of our 200.
Is there a weight
It's
in here too, or is it just like, why are the bullets so big? Is that...
They were also really they were pretty expensive. I don't remember the pricing on the original Oregon Trail.
Why are the bullets as big as the Bible? I need help.
Why wouldn't they be?
It's actually only 3 squares. There's an empty square between the Bible or between the bullets and the medicine.
Yeah.
Worth noting.
Look at it; it's tiny. It's like one little pixel in there. No, back to it. It's the classic Oregon Trail gameplay. I mean, it's to a T. Even the hunting, it's like the single screen. You're walking around shooting oxen, shooting foxes, and all that kind of crap. Shoot the foxen. But what I really do like about this is there is a ton of stuff to unlock. Like, you can play just the Oregon Trail portion, and there's like 3 different difficulties, which are pretty good.
I gotta say one thing. Apple has really forced Gameloft to stop with like the bullshit that Gameloft used to always do.
Yeah,
like by forcing them to be like Apple Arcade and not like you can't just nickel and dime. Like you can't just have because I had played some Oregon Trail stuff in the past from Gameloft, and it was all that free to play bullshit.
Yeah, it was.
It's like,
but what? Yeah, so it. There's, first of all, 3 different difficulty modes. Here, I'm going to stop it right here.
Also, 3 different art styles, too. Really interesting.
3 different difficulty modes for the... I think they have, like, kind of the traditional Oregon Trail adventure mode, whatever. Then the easy mode, they're calling it, like, the exploration mode, which is more about, like, sightseeing and not so much about,
What sites are there to see?
What's that?
What sites are you seeing, Dolly? Is there like anything to actually like look at? Like,
no, I mean you're walking nonstop. You're going from point to point.
It's come complete the game mode.
Yeah, it's exactly. So let me finish my fucking review. The other modes that are on there, once you finish the actual Oregon Trail, if you die along the way, like a roguelike, you can actually kind of use the forts that you've come across and towns you've come across to sort of teleport, I guess, to fast travel ahead. But there is a California Trail. There is this winter, I forget what it's called, winter migration. You can unlock artwork, you can unlock music, you can make the visual style retro with some of the little the screen stuff you can do that you can unlock. So there's a lot to unlock in this, and there's weekly challenges. You could definitely see the mobile.
Yeah, this is still a Gameloft game, baby.
It is still a Gameloft game, but I do like having regular challenges in my games because you just want to come back and you don't want to just be done with something and then I mean, I play what Mario and Rabbids had weekly challenges. Even the freaking Assassin's Creed game. Wow, how did I say it? The Assassin's Creed games have like weekly
Assassin.
So, anyways, I'm really digging it. It's a little on the expensive side. It's like $30.
Holy no!
But yeah, at least that's what it was listed as on the shop. So it's a lot, but yeah, check it out, man. You can shoot a deer or an elk or whatever that is, and it's
$30.
You can go fishing
in this economy.
In this economy. Wait for the eShop stuff. No, I dig it. I really do enjoy it. I think it's the kind of game that remember, Oregon Trail was designed as an educational game. It was meant so that you could teach kids about survival, how the old ways to make it to the West Coast. And they've done a pretty good job of updating it for modern without going overboard on the hardcore mobile free-to-play BS. I think
because it's $30.
Hey, you know what?
Jesus.
Better not be.
Wait for a sale, baby. But yeah, no, I dig it. I think it's good. That's it. That's my review.
Yeah, Oregon Trail's fundamentally good, and I like the idea of if even you not completing the game is the point because it's supposed to show you how hard it was.
How hard it was,
to do this. Yeah.
By the way, some of these names, Nathaniel.
Nice. That's like Nathaniel. That. It's like those fake baseball names in that NES.
Yep.
See, I don't know about you guys, but I just remember playing Oregon Trail way back when, and I would just because I was really young, I would just try and hunt repeatedly. Every single time that it gave me a chance, I'd hunt, and then it would be like, you can't anymore. Everything's dead.
That's true, and that happens here too. It's like you've exterminated the entire population of elk in the U.S. God, damn you!
It's very accurate.
Very accurate. So I think it's good. I think it's a fun game. I actually think it's a great game to play on a mobile platform because that's how you want to play these things when you're watching something else. It's not like very action heavy, but again, because it doesn't have touch controls on the Switch, is the only thing that's really touching me. It's like
it's just like when when they released whatchamacallit, that Pokemon game that was a mobile game.
Oh yeah.
Unite.
No, not Unite. The one before Unite. It was like the first one they did where the Pokemon are like voxels.
Yeah.
Quest.
Rumble.
Quest. Pokemon
that Rumble game or
whatever.
Quest.
Pokemon Quest.
Yeah, and it was the same thing, right? Because it was clearly destined to be a mobile game because it was grindy as shit. Yeah. And I still never beat it because of that. But it's like you get it, bust out your Joy-Cons because that's the only way you're gonna play this shit.
Yep. But Oregon Trail. Let's move on to some more retro love with the one, the only JJ.
Oh yeah. The review just went up last night for
what review would that be for?
The Atari 50 anniversary collection. Holy shit, this collection, man. It is one.
What about it, JJ?
It is one of the most complete collections you will ever play for something like this, because usually a lot of these collections, I mentioned it in the review, the Rare Replay collection was really good because it had a good chunk of their back catalog and video and stuff like that, and some prototypey kind of things and audio and stuff. But it did have some obvious gaps because there's only so much IP work that you can do. Atari really didn't have to worry too much about IP stuff. They were kind of putting out their own stuff. You're not going to get E.T. in this, but that's or the Pac-Man adaptions, but who cares? That's not the point.
You don't want half of them anyway.
Yeah, but this starts at the arcade and makes its way all the way to sort of modern times, where they've taken a couple of older games and sort of created new. There is a remake, not of Haunted House in here. There's
it's called Haunted Houses. There it is, Haunted Houses.
Yeah. There's a vector thing that kind of mashes up a few different classic vector games into it, and there's
I think I'm seeing in this trailer here, JJ, a lot of the reasons why this one stood out from some of the other collections that you've reviewed over the months and years.
It's got about an hour worth of documentary footage in it where they're interviewing the developers. Not you're so used to having these things come out and just be an interview with Nolan Bushnell. There he is.
Right.
But this one's actually talking to the people that, boots to the ground making these games, talking about the history. They don't shy away from the bad shit that happened. They talk about well, I made E.T. and that was, fucking mess. And and they talk about things like the console cycles, when they released the Atari 5200. They talk about we didn't know what we were doing. Nobody had experienced a console cycle before. What is it? When do you release a new one? How do people know what to expect when you release a new system? What the messaging was never that great about it. And, and the marketers didn't know what to do with it. No, don't have it play 2,600 games and then have it come out and be you have to develop a thing that plays 2600 games on this thing. It's so complete, and the fact that it goes like all the way to like the Jaguar, like the Jaguar representation even is pretty good on this. It's such a fascinating like historical piece, because it even that thing it showed Touch Me right there. That is a handheld Simon game. Like it's not like it's not like it's even a video game. It's just Simon that they've recreated to be in here because it was just an Atari product that they put out to try to do something other than just
right
standard
there.
video
There it
games.
is. Touch Me.
Yeah.
Right
And it has prototypes like, you know, unreleased things, unreleased arcade games, unreleased 2600 games. It's such a perfect like glimpse at why this company is as big as it is still, because to get a good look at like how much you know without realizing you know about Atari. Like you see games in here, like Tempest 2000 still looks and plays phenomenally well as a Jaguar game, but like who cares? Like it's a Jaguar.
I picked this up as well, and I will definitely say how much of these games are absolutely horrible to play right now. Like the overwhelming majority are horrible to play. But that said, I'm like, I never played the Atari Lynx games. Yeah, they're bad, but it's just kind of charming to play them.
And in terms of the Lynx stuff, they don't even have like the good Lynx games.
Yeah.
So it's like there's no California games or something in here, which is kind of a bummer. But yeah,
what the Atari? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. It's so refreshing to like. Yeah, it's so complete. It's so refreshing to have like the way it's presented as a timeline as well. Like when you go into it, it's literally a timeline that you travel down. It's like you get to a game, you play it, and then you go down. Like then you see the quotes, then you see some flyers and some commercials.
And they really want you to go through the timeline to play the just play the games. You have to get into the timeline and then hit the Y button to play the say, you want to play the game?
So you unlock stuff by watching everything.
That too, you unlock shit.
There's locked games. There's like some secret hidden stuff, and they give you
indoctrinate yourself to our history or get nothing.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, and Nolan Bushnell, thank God, only appears at the very end of this thing. It's like one documentary video. But it's him and the current CEO of Atari, just talking about the history and future of Atari. Mika. Yeah, Tim Schafer is in it because he worked at Atari for a spell. Cliffy B is all over this thing.
Yeah.
Ernest Klein has a bit presence in here,
That's
unfortunately. Awesome. He's like doing it in his garage, like the interview, and it's got like the car from Ready Player One in there, the DeLorean with the kit lighting and the Ghostbusters door panels, except they blur out the Ghostbusters stuff. But yeah, man, this game, like, it's genuinely the best compilation that's ever been sort of pieced together. Like, a lot of heart went into the history part of it, and I really appreciate that. Like, it's not just a compilation, because a compilation, they've put out like the Atari Flashback collection on like the Switch and stuff, and it's just a shit ton of Atari 2600 games, and they're terrible.
Yeah.
They're all bad. None of them are good. I've played through every single one of them here, and they're all terrible. But
it's so here. I completely agree. I've been enamored by this thing. I picked it up on Friday and messed around with it yesterday for like 2 hours while I was watching football, and then realized that, like, oh crap, I've been playing old ass Atari games and watching videos for this long.
One pride.
One exactly. This may, no joke, this may be the one time that I actually play it alone. This thing. This is something that I would definitely show my younger relatives and my brother, and I remember this stuff. But I would love to see mini consoles with this much effort. Like, could you imagine? Could you
Oh,
imagine?
for a second, I thought you were going to tell me that you wanted mini consoles with these
Atari
games on it,
stuff on it,
and I'd be
yeah.
like, no,
no.
I don't
No,
I don't
but-
Those
want
already
it.
exist.
But I
Those
love it.
They're the original mini consoles. Atari isn't
Exactly.
putting out flags for the last
No.
fucking 20 years.
I'd love to see mini consoles with this type of effort that shows like
Yeah.
the
This
NES
feels-
mini, right? Just
this-
say, here's the development. You can
Yeah.
sit back, you can watch a documentary, you can
Bro.
Well,
it's a complete-
especially because
so cool.
because Nintendo still has a good chunk of those developers still there.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they don't even have to reach out and go find those people. They're still there.
Yeah, it's
even-
nice. There are stories to tell that haven't been told yet, and like
Yeah.
I've seen pretty much everything Atari that they've ever out, like documentary wise, and there was still some stuff in here that was interesting to see these developers talk about. It was
so
fun.
interesting.
It was fun to have like an entire video titled "Did
They're
They Do
so
Drugs
candid.
at Atari?" So
What was the answer?
Yes.
yes, they were
It was
very
the
open
70s.
about it. Yeah.
Do you know? So it'd be cool if the PlayStation 1 like classic thing came out, and there was a documentary by Mark Cerny and how
Right.
they made
Yeah.
Crash.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
okay, this is
Remember
how
that
we
one.
made Crash Bandicoot. We wanted to make a Sonic the Hedgehog game that followed behind the character.
Yeah.
And like the code name for that game was Sonic's Ass. I don't know if you guys are aware of this,
Yeah.
but they called Crash Sonic's Ass behind the scenes. It'd be cool for them to talk
Yeah.
about Sonic's Ass,
Yeah.
but no.
Yeah.
We
No,
don't get
no.
to have that.
No, we're being
This
we're
is-
being held from Sonic's
Yeah.
ass at all times.
This okay, two things to go with this. This one feels like actual like preservation thing. It doesn't feel
Yes.
like it doesn't feel like it feels like it's a museum first, game second.
God, yeah.
And second of all, speaking of Sonic's ass, I have been playing Sonic Frontiers.
Talk about it.
And
This
It's a video game.
What are you playing on Steam?
I am playing it on Steam. It is absolutely incredible. It is actually a genuinely fantastic video game. I am having a blast every second I play this game. I don't know what it is. It's
every single bit
yeah.
of media I've seen about this game.
Oops.
Oh, so good he had to go. Return me to my people.
Talking about Sonic.
But the thing about it, every piece of media that I've seen about it so far looks like one of the dumbest games that's ever been made.
And it kind of is. I mean, it's funny because a lot of the things that I was like constantly making fun of, like the skyline being such like janky looking with random rails and stuff, like in context of the game actually makes a lot of sense. And
Does
like,
it though?
It does. It does, because you are in a corrupted sort of computer cyberspace thing. And the more map you
way to spoil it.
Yeah, and the way when you start unlocking map pieces, like you're doing fucking Assassin's Creed tower jumps and stuff, unlocks more rails that connect more and more of the map, so that's your fast travel. You don't have traditional fast travel, you just have fucking ramps that you're getting your soaps on and just grinding to the next map marker.
Cool.
The gameplay is like, it's ridiculous. There's
Okay,
a
the fact
lot
that
going-
so the fact that there wasn't, like, I'm assuming that was like the Green Hill Zone version of this game.
Yeah,
And the fact that
Also in
okay.
the game too.
okay.
the fact that was not like the leading marketing material for this whole thing is very bizarre.
Here's
like
the
what?
Here's the thing
Yeah.
that's weird, that's insane about this game is that the levels of this are probably the worst part of the game. Like the overworld,
She's selling me on it for sure.
but that's not saying a whole lot because so they're designed to be speed run. Like you find these the open world map is very cool. It is very fun to traverse around it, fight these big Titan bosses, and go through. And all of these are separate levels that you like Digitron yourself into to play through to get keys to unlock the Chaos
Shadow of
Emeralds.
the Colossus, dude.
But those
Yeah,
levels, like, they all have like four like things that you have to take care of. Like, you got to get all the red coins, you got to get an S rank, you got to get just finish it, and then finish with a number of coins or whatever. And they really do, like, to get an S rank, it really is just like efficiently get through this level as fast as possible, all of Sonic's bullshit, and you want to dive back into like the Green Hill Zone level. There doesn't seem to like try to get that S rank, because like, I can be faster. I know what I did wrong. I can be faster. There is no rhyme or reason, it feels like, to these levels, because they're scattered all across the map. You go to one of the towers and it's like it's just, this is the chemical plant zone. This is, city escape. This is, ancient ruins. This is it. But there's like no like, okay, World 1 is all Green Hill Zone levels. World 2 is all whatever. There's no cohesion with that, but like there's some ridiculous shit that is going on, and the boss fight, the like final boss fights of each island, I've done 2 of them. Hey, there's Big. I've done 2 of the final boss fights, and they are insanely fun. You get to a Titan, you climb it like it's fucking Shadow Colossus, get to the top of its head or whatever to get the final Chaos Emerald, and then you go into supersonic mode, and then you have this boss fight that lasts as long as you have rings, and you just have this Dragon Ball Z style fight with this fucking Titan, and it works so well for Sonic the Hedgehog, and it's so fascinating. Like, you can see a game here. This is a this which is a lot saying for a Sonic game. As a person that played Forces, that felt like it was just them striving.
That played Forces.
Yeah, they were striving for mediocrity in Forces and succeeded in that. They were not striving for mediocrity with Frontiers. They were clearly striving to make a phenomenal game, failed, but still kind of broke even. Like, they made a 7 still, and it's against all odds, but I don't know, man. It's super fun. I'm glowing about it. I've put in hours into this fucking game just exploring the 3 maps I'm on right now and stuff. It's
bizarre. Anyway, my point about Green Hill Zone stuff was just like purely from a marketing perspective. Yeah. You have the single most iconic characters with one of the single most iconic level designs in almost all of gaming history, and you lead with boring background game number 1 instead of Green Hill Zone. In what world do you make that choice? I just don't understand.
I mean, I can only think because the Green Hill Zone stuff is barely like represented.
It doesn't matter, JJ. That's the beautiful part. But it's marketing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Even if Green Hill Zone only exists for 30 seconds, that's what you put in there to be so that people are like, "Oh shit, Green Hill Zone, let's go."
You get to play Snake in Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah, it's just, but like the overworld maps are actually like really fun to explore. Like the actual like.
And you let people find that out when they buy it because they think they're going to play Green Hill Zone. That's what I'm saying. I
think you're going to get a Brutal Legend situation with that, where people are expecting that, oh, this is going to be a fun action game, then get it and be angry about it. And then I think the word of mouth of this game has been insanely positive.
After release,
because a lot of the marketing was one of 2 things. It was the cyberspace levels, or like the earliest of early overworld map stuff, where like a lot of the map isn't unlocked yet, and so like it's just like this mess. And the performance has gotten increasingly better throughout the years, like throughout the days. I mean, like it started off real rough, but like after launch, there was like at least one kind of significant patch that seemed to sort of fix some of the stuttering issues, but it still kind of runs like trash at some time. Does not run very well on Steam Deck in the slightest. The shaders are busted.
Yeah, so
on the Steam Deck.
that's the one problem that's going to happen with Steam Deck, and this is going to be the case with especially newer games that come out every time. Anything that's using, especially DirectX 12 and stuff like that. Steam Deck games are always going to look pretty poopy because of shader issues. Yeah. So unfortunately, that's going to be
like when it's
pretty
like
consistent.
Yeah, when the sun is up or going down, or because it has a day-night cycle on the map, a live day-night cycle. So that's interesting for a Sonic game. But when the sun's going down, it is a seizure warning on the Steam Deck. It is it is flickering like crazy. Like the shadows of the sun going down are creating some real it made me sick. I don't even have that kind of flashing light problem, but it was making me sick. So yeah, that was a problem. It's obviously not present on stuff. And I'm sure Zach, did you watch the Digital Foundry
yes.
video? That Switch version. Holy shit.
It's a good video because the guy is like, I really like this game, but I don't know how to explain it. It's just, it's good, yeah.
It's a good video, yeah. But I'm just saying that this game is on the short list of my favorite games of the year so far, surprisingly. I didn't expect it. I hated Forces. I hated...
I hate Sonic and I want to play it.
It is
unironically or
it is
maybe. I don't know.
It is by far, in my opinion, the best 3D Sonic game that they have ever made. I realize that's a low bar, but Sonic Adventure is more nostalgic to me than it is I recognize it even then as a bad game, but this is actually fun to play.
Here's a fun little tidbit about this game. So there's another video game called Phantasy Star Online 2. During the development the development of this Sonic game, they offloaded Phantasy Star Online 2, they released New Genesis, which is the new version of the game, open world sections.
I get an email every 2 weeks about it in my SideQuest email box.
Yeah. So what happened is Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis, the vast majority of their team, 80% of their team, got shifted to Sonic Frontiers. And they did all the heavy lifting for the development of this game. And they use assets from New Genesis in Sonic, and you can tell. But what that caused is it caused New Genesis, Phantasy Star Online 2 in general, to have a content drought for a year and a half. There's nothing going on for that game because the team was overworking on Sonic. Now they're back on their game and their stuff coming out like crazy.
Yeah, now we got Lenovo Legion emotes.
Yep.
We've got cosmetics. I forget. My buddy just sent me one 3 days ago. I forget what the set was.
You turn into a laptop. It's really
you can turn into a laptop. You just everybody's laptops. They're watching the newest music video in New Genesis as a laptops. It's great.
Also,
now they have the open world sections of Frontiers are very similar to the open world traversal sections in New Genesis because a lot of the content in that game is here's this open world, complete all the tasks within this open world area, and they're all centered around a certain gimmick. It's very similar to some certain stuff I've seen in Sonic. So
yeah, everything is a gimmick in the overworld. Anytime you go to one of the towers to unlock a map section, it does a little goofy mini game for you to do. And
I like the hamster wheel.
The hamster wheel's really good. The puzzle, the light puzzle is very just trace it without by making one continuous line or whatever.
Yeah.
Parrying. There's a Sonic parries in this game, which is fascinating. And this game is written by Ian Flynn, which means nothing to a lot of people on this, but he is the comic book writer for Sonic and has been since the Archie days and has been for a significant amount of time. And even names drops, like for the first time ever, name drops a Sonic comic character in the game. So he's working his shit into this thing.
Awesome.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah.
Which is very rare for a Sonic game.
Well, let's move on. Let's go to somebody else who's playing a classic game and holding a dog. Taylor Willis.
Yeah. Let's see. What do I got? Classic games. I'll start. So I've been playing set up my old shit, which is I got an old wireless router. Let's put some custom firmware on that bad boy, set it up as a wireless repeater so that it just bridges wireless to LAN, because I bought a PS2 network adapter, and that thing is only the PS2 don't got wireless, so that thing receives the wireless, puts it into LAN, and then I bought a free McBoot because I wasn't going to figure out how to do that myself. I draw the line somewhere, and so I don't know if you guys are up on PS2 mod scene. But Free McBoot is basically just a PS2 memory card, and it boots it into custom firmware right away, and it just runs like custom launchers right from there. And so I'm launching my perfectly legal PS2 ISOs directly from a network share over the network adapter on the PS2. It's really cool. So I played Katamari Damacy for the first time. I've actually never played Katamari. I got a PS2 at a really weird time in my life where PS2 was
You've never played it before.
Yeah, it was the first time I ever played Katamari. And when I got the PS2, it was already 07, which admittedly, like, it wasn't at the end of the life. It was towards the end of the lifetime, right? But I literally only bought it so I could play Kingdom Hearts, and then I bought Okami, and then I bought Final Fantasy 12, and like that was it. I didn't buy any other games other than Guitar Hero. I think. Yeah, those games are good. And so this with the separate boot and the network share for the ISOs, I get to relive a lot of that stuff. So anyway, played Katamari for a bunch. My daughter thought the music was really cool. It was funny. She was sitting down next to me and she was just like, she was grooving. The music is incredible.
I have the soundtrack on vinyl, and somebody hit me up on Twitter asking to buy it off me, and I was like, why did somebody ask me to buy this? And that's why I had to immediately go to eBay and see that it was going for like $300 to $400.
Wow.
I'm not surprised. I mean, like, it's it's a killer soundtrack, and B, it's probably a short run.
Yeah, was a controller like this because of the game, or like
it makes me want to. Let's see what else. But then I shifted over and I spent a lot of the time playing Shadow of the Colossus. I got that running. I've also never played. I've never played Shadow of the Colossus before. I think I've only played it for like an hour and 20 maybe. And I think I spent about 40 minutes of it just trying to do the first Colossus because I was thinking way too hard. I noticed that, the tutorial sets you up. It's like, slash the dude's leg, right? It's pretty easy, pretty obvious. So I slash his leg, and I noticed that when he goes down, he puts his left fist on the ground. And I see that the left hand like has these rings up there. I spent like 25 minutes trying to jump up his arm rings. When it turns out that literally the only thing you have to do is slash his leg, he goes down, and then you jump up and you just literally climb straight up his back. You could probably beat the entirety of the first Colossus in 7 minutes. Probably less, actually. It's really, really easy. He doesn't toss you off a single time.
He's just
so once
exactly.
He doesn't do it. He just
playing Shadow of the Colossus like how I play the majority of games. Is basically what you're saying.
Making it too hard for yourself?
Yes. Yeah.
Overthinking it. Yeah.
Overthinking.
Isn't it insane? Like how that game looks on like a PlayStation 2. Like.
So I will say, I mean, so this is the one thing is that I'm playing this. This is out in my back room. I've got it on the CRT. I'm playing PS2 over Component. What's nuts is, so Shadow of the Colossus has crazy frame rate issues on the original PS2 hardware. I would say it probably averages anywhere between 15 to like 22, 23 FPS, especially when you're like, when you're fighting the Colossus. But when you get to specific areas of the open world and it's kind of like a narrower field of view, and it cruises at probably hits almost 60 FPS, it looks crazy good. It's insane on a CRT, like at what this game looks like. Yeah. And it's funny because when I was setting up for it, I was looking at screenshots of Shadow of the Colossus from PS2, and it looks like dog shit. It looks so bad. All the text looks unreadable, but it's so crisp on the original format. It's crazy. But yeah, the frame rate is clearly an issue. But I was willing to
PlayStation 2, not much you can do.
Yeah, and like this game when it came out must have been like, did you guys see what they put out onto a console? Which is probably what it was. So I did that. I installed Windows on my Steam Deck. I got Persona 5 running there natively over Game Pass. I'm going to throw this out here. There is a weird issue, and I'm assuming that this is a DRM de novo issue. So I got it running, booted up twice. It was working, played for maybe 40 minutes just to make sure that everything was cool. I tried to come back later on after I had put it to sleep a few times and stuff like that. And I would try and launch it, and just nothing would happen. I'm a system admin by day, so I was diving into like task manager and resource manager. I could see that it was trying to launch the actual executable from where the game is located with Game Pass games. I'm not going to go into the details of why it works out. It gets weird, but it just wasn't launching. I tried to look it up. I Googled it. There was one Reddit thread of.
I love Reddit.
Yeah, it's incredible. Literally somebody installed Windows on their Steam Deck and was having problems launching Persona 5 Royal on Windows on Steam Deck, and he replied to his own thread and said, I don't know why, but I turned off auto date and time sync and manually set it, and then it launched. And I turned off auto. It didn't launch, but then I noticed that after I turned off auto, it went back to like a different time zone. So then I manually set the time. Literally, I guess I must have clicked play recently. As soon as I set the time, it launched. It was booting immediately. So I think that de novo does a time check, and like with auto time on Steam Deck specifically, maybe there's some weird driver that does a like a clock sync or something like that. I don't know. Who knows? I'm not going to speculate. But so I got that running, and then I also just yesterday or today, this is going to lead into my last game that I've been playing. Mm-hmm. I got Chiaki, which is a
bless you.
Thank you. Which is a client installation for so like Mac, Linux, Windows. It is in the same way that Moonlight does streaming over GeForce, Chiaki does local streaming. It treats it as if it's a Sony device for PlayStation consoles. So you can load this program called Chiaki on your Steam Deck, and you sync it up with your PlayStation, your PS4, your PS5, and it functions as a remote play client. And so I got that up and running. It's the first time I've turned on my PS4, I think, in almost 2 years. And then all of a sudden, I was downloading Kingdom Hearts 3 RE Mine DLC. Oh, no. And then I played 2.5 hours of RE Mine DLC.
Oh, no.
Which I will say, I don't.
You had to consult the lore master, by the way.
Yeah, I had to. Well, I mean, I didn't even ask you all the questions I had, but I remember very, very little, for one thing. And the other part is that it's not the greatest DLC yet. I mean, at least all the parts that I played have quite honestly pretty bad. You literally, if I don't remember how long it came out, like what was the time span between the game and RE Mind, but
I've been 2 years.
the first hour and a half, 90 minutes is literally replaying all of the final encounters of the entirety of the base game. You're just clicking through all of the so like, let's say hypothetically you didn't buy RE Mind until you wanted to wait. You didn't play Kingdom Hearts 3. You bought Kingdom Hearts 3 and RE Mind together. You finish Kingdom Hearts 3 and then you jump into RE Mind. You literally are about to replay the exact same shit that you just did. It's bad. It's not good. It was designed fundamentally as a thing like, okay, let's remind people who haven't
Enix type of thing.
Yeah, like let's remind people who haven't
Mind for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good though. Like it's not a good game design choice.
So it does the thing that Kingdom Hearts does, where it's like the important stuff is at the beginning, and then the other important stuff is at the end. Everything in the middle is filler. That's what it is.
So I got to the filler part. That's what I was doing right before I hopped on the show. Yeah, so I'm just fighting Heartless, fighting nobodies, and it's like I'm looking for Kairi, same old shit. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts is still Kingdom Hearts.
Whoa! Finally.
But yeah, so that's what I'm working on. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Did I boot up any of the other PS2 games? No. Although I was playing more Circle of the Moon. There's some bullshit bosses in that game.
Circle your moon, baby.
Dude, let me tell you, there's some bullshit bosses in that game. It's bad. It's not good. I mean, like it's good because it's doable.
Sure.
But they were stretching as they would tend to do for handheld games. They were stretching stuff out like, why don't you go farm some more zombies? I'm like, I don't want to. I don't want to. Yeah, games are good.
Awesome. Zachary.
It's my turn.
Tell us.
Okay.
What you've been
First
playing.
of all, let's start with the review game that I have been playing. Well, one of them I can't talk about until 12 a.m. tonight, so you're gonna have to wait. But the other one, Shadows Over Loathing. Context
is it over or
over? Yeah, Shadows Over Loathing.
Okay.
For context, there was a long time ago, 2003, Kingdom of Loathing was a browser-based MMO where it's like the joke was we're never going to update our website and it's a game and it's like all stick figures. And so that kind of started as a joke, had a really passionate community. I was one of the people that played the game because I played a lot of browser-based games on my computer when I was young. So I played that a bit. 2016, West of Loathing came out, which is like, it's a spin-off of that universe. And kind of what these games are known for are like their wordplay, story, jokes. It's just, I don't think they're British, but it feels British, like that kind of, witticism humor. So it's funny. I like that stuff. I like wordplay. I like kind of cheap, corny jokes. It's really, really good. The game uses the media of like a video game to like make jokes. So they're just things you have to see, but it's really funny. Yeah, so West of Loathing came out. It's a cowboy. You play as a cowboy RPG in a town. It's like a turn-based game. It's really simple, but not like too simple. There's some character building and things, and yeah, it's just a nice little. It feels like a pen and paper game, but it's not. It's So that. Yeah, show us some of that. Show us some of them graphics, Dolly.
There we go.
This new one is inherently more interesting to me because it's like you're a paranormal investigator and
you already got me, man.
Cosmic horror, and yeah, it's just really funny. You find cursed items. and you like bring them to a cursed like a cursed humidifier machine, and you go inside them items, and you
Decurse them.
Decurse them. Yeah, like I found a cursed fedora, and I brought it to the machine, and I figured out what was making this item mad. I went, and it's like a bunch of trees wearing fedoras that got killed by a lumberjack, whatever. Like, yeah, it's just really fun. And yeah, they're really simple games. Like the stat management, there's stats. Like it's not like it's like a hard, but there's still like stats to look at and manage. Like whimsy, mysticism, muscle, something.
Is it an adventure game? Has it got RPG-ness to it?
So it's a side-scrolling RPG. So I mean, it's kind of like Paper Mario. You kind of think of it like that.
I don't think of it like that.
It's like Paper Mario a lot now that I think about it. Yeah, it's
love it. I love
it. It's just really funny. There are times in the dialogue where you're talking to yourself and you like have to count, and you just keep counting forever and ever. Or they're like, there's this one part they showed in the trailer where it's like there's 6, like you dream, and there's 6 lockers, and it's like you look in each locker, and then it's like, wait, there's a 7th locker, but there's also an option to not make that option too, so you can like change your character's perception of the story and of the game by just like making things like that. So you say there's a 7th locker, and then the game goes, no, there's not, and then you can go, yeah, there is, and then it says, okay, look in the 7th locker, and it's your homework. You forgot to turn it in. It's like, oh man, that sucks. Like it's just stuff like that. It's just really interesting and like fun, kind of like fourth wall breaking humor. Yeah, so the inherent plot hook is you're a paranormal investigator. There's a Cthulhu-like thing happening in like this 1917 like New York City-ish place. You're trying to find your uncle. So very just kind of like a classic kind of investigator story.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Excellent.
And there's also a lot of those choices I was saying too is like you get a lot of stats and things like mysticism, muscle, all these things, and there's items around the world that you can only access if you have certain stats. So there's a lot of like, oh yeah, at the very beginning of the game there's this thing, I want to go back to that. So there's a lot of traveling around, exploring, lots of stuff to do. Your decisions kind of influence the rest of the game in really fun ways. There's multiple endings. Yeah, it's super fun. I think West of Loathing is on Game Pass, so check that out. They're very unique games.
Look forward to your review.
It's a stick figure. No, yeah, I need to play.
I love it.
Yeah, no, I've played West of Loathing. I beat it whenever it came out in 2017. I just need to play and beat this one. It's on my list, but
cool.
It's
and they surprise dropped it, which I thought was actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, by the way, 5 years, 6 years later, whatever.
It's like 5 years of them being quiet, and they're like, hey, here's a new one. Yeah.
I always love the aesthetics of this, just because it was so basic. Cool.
Yeah, there's just one part where you go into like a journal, like you go into like a newspaper printer. There's like a bunch of desks, and it's like Jerry is handing out pink slips to people who are writing stories that they're not supposed to write. And you like walk around to all the desks, and it's like this guy is writing about how corruption in the banking industry is like, you got a pink slip, and then you walk to the boss's desk. Is like, I'm gonna karate chop Gerald's desk, and then you like walk further to the right, and the desk is like in half. And then you walk up there like Gerald's desk is cut in half. So okay, like it's just really, really fun. So
nice.
Yeah, and then the real game I've been playing.
Oh,
Sonic Frontier.
There's more.
There's more. This game. Whoa. Okay. So Tactics Ogre Reborn.
Oh, you're playing it.
Yeah. It's a doozy of a game because it's like I wasn't aware of like kind of like the historical significance of the game. I've played it before, haven't beaten it, but I played it before on the PSP. And
the 2010 PSP release, right?
Yeah, the 2010 remake of the SNES version that is now being remade for the second time, I guess. So so
I played the PlayStation 1 version of that.
Wow.
So Tactics Ogre is such an impressive game. The people who worked on this game, for one, made Final Fantasy Tactics, went on to do Final Fantasy 12, went on to do Final Fantasy Advanced Tactics, Final Fantasy 14 stuff. Everyone who's involved with this game, Vagrant Story, have done all those games. So they're all games I'm big fans of. And they're all kind of in the same kind of tangential universe, kind of like, hey, like this is like all related weird ways. But yeah, so Tactics Ogre, what's really impressive to me is just the depth of the game is really crazy. But what's really impressive about this remake is because I can't really say much about it in the past, like the stuff that they changed, because I don't have that much experience. But I can say that the remake does a really amazing job of the changes I've seen to make it more modern, but also boost what made the past one interesting to people who already liked the game. But so it's all like, if you watch any video comparing old systems and new systems, it's just like an all around well-rounded remake and making things more modern, and also because things are more modern and more conceptually like on a more simple level, they're able to make things more complex on the back end for more content that they've added and cut things that were in the different versions of the game that they put into this game. New modes, new story elements, new art. Like, there's just so much stuff. It's crazy. It's also kind of crazy to me that this hasn't been talked about as much as I think it should. It's a really well-made remake.
Sure.
They added voice acting to the game. They fixed the script. They added more levels, more gameplay modes. They completely changed how the combat systems like figure out your attack and your defense and all those things like that. They've added like randomized variant dungeons and just so much stuff that wasn't in the originals. And that alone is really interesting to me just because I like strategy games. But what it has been interesting to me as a newcomer to the series kind of is seeing people on YouTube who have been making Tactics Ogre content for decades. I didn't even know this thing existed.
There's a sub niche for like every single type of game, man. It's insane.
There's a guy I've been watching who's just like he just like posts runs of this game, and like there's fan-made mods that like randomize things, add new stories to the original PSP one. And then now he's playing this and he's like saying like, I have no clue what's going on in this game. Like, we have to wait to figure out how these systems work. People are still trying to figure out how this new one works. And it's just so interesting that having this guy post hour-long videos digging into units and like movements and all these like really just niche things in a game that like I just wasn't aware of. And that's such an enthralling experience for me as a consumer. I love finding games and just like diving into their communities and kind of just melding with them and figuring out like, why do you like this? I'm new here. Let's figure this out. Let me watch an hour-long video of you talking about why the ogre is so good to use with the rune fencer, because he can like, it's just like, I just love that stuff. And there's a guy, he's been playing this game for like 20 years and he knows everything, but this new version, he's just like, this is my favorite version yet because it's new. It's like, yeah, I wonder why it's your favorite version, because and the PC port is really good. The UI changes are even better. Like, it's crazy. It's such an impressive port. Like, it's just, and this, I can't even talk about the story. The story is like so well written. Like, all these games that take place in this universe are all the same. Like Final Fantasy 12, Final Fantasy Tactics, 14, 16. All these games are kind of in the same vein and like theming and everything all have this like really mature political story, and this is just another thing, but it feels more Shakespearean than those. It's like very just like classic drama that I love, and it's just so good. It's been an engrossing experience, and I'm just playing through it, grinding it out, hoping that they do this for Final Fantasy Tactics. I don't know why they wouldn't. It's the same system, like same engine, everything. Yeah, and I know I complained about the art style when this first got revealed, but actually playing it, it's not as it's not as distracting as I thought it would be. It looks really good in motion. Yeah, and also the artist, dude. Let me read the things he's worked on. His name is Akihiko Yoshida. He has worked on Ogre Battle, Tactics Ogre, Final Fantasy Tactics, Vagrant Story, Final Fantasy 12, Final Fantasy 3, Final Fantasy Tactics, Final Fantasy 14, Bravely Default, Nier Automata, Nier Gestalt, Lost Order, Nier Reincarnation, Final Fantasy 14, every expansion. The director and writer, he's written some of the best storylines for 14. He wrote 12. He wrote Vagrant Story. He wrote Final Fantasy Tactics. Like, it's just a banger of a team. So, yeah, it's a surprising release, like a surprising game for me to be as engrossed in as I am. So, I love it. It's really, really good.
And it really was the predecessor to a lot of the tactics games that we know and love. So I remember playing the original Ogre Battle on the Super NES back in like the early 90s or mid 90s, whenever it actually launched in the US, and thinking, wow, this is a really...
It originally launched in 93, but I don't know.
I think it was 95. It came over to the US.
That was okay, yeah. And then Tactics came out in North America in 98.
Yes. Okay.
I was 4 years old.
Yep. So yeah, excellent. Love it.
When did the N64 launch?
96.
Right.
In the US, 96. Yeah.
And
in the US.
64 was
and then that's what I'm saying is that like, so you've got a game coming out for the Super Nintendo in 1998, because it was originally released in Japan in 1995, and it was ported over to the Sega Saturn in 96. JJ, you said
Tactics Ogre on the 64 as well.
That's what Dally's talking about, is that like it's so bizarre that the way that some of this stuff goes, because
the original Tactics Ogre, that the PS1 version,
is a port.
Because the Super Nintendo version never came out in America, because it came out at the end of the Super Nintendo's life cycle. Exactly. And so we got the PlayStation 1 version in like the late 90s, and then the PSP version got made. Like, it's so fucking ridiculous. This franchise has just like got quite the situation going for it.
And like, the fact that Ogre Battle 64 came to the US in 2000, so only 2 years after the Super Famicom version, which was originally released in 95. That's insane.
Love it.
Crazy stuff.
Good stuff, my dude. Yeah, I'll be picking that one up. I got that.
It's really good. The voice acting, man.
Yeah.
Some good stuff.
I'm hopeful they'll put out a hard copy version of it, like a disc. I mean, they have it in Japan, but they don't have it in the US. So I'm hopeful that it'll come out here. But yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll just get the Japanese version.
It'll be like a Square Enix store exclusive, and you'll get it in like 2.5 years.
Yep, exactly.
Makes me sad.
But I do love these. These remakes, because I really enjoyed that ActRaiser remake that they, not really a remake, but the remaster, I guess, or whatever that they call it. Maybe it was more of a remake, but I love that because they had that extra scenario in there. I don't think there's any extra scenarios in this one, is there?
There's new stuff.
There is.
What do you?
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what do you mean by extra scenarios?
Well, in ActRaiser, there was a whole like prologue area that was actually really cool. But there's extra stuff in this. I'll take.
Yeah, there's a lot of
there's extra end game content was added. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. There's also scenarios in the Japanese version that didn't get carried over to the American version that are in here finally. Yeah, it's just the full package. People are the people in the community are like losing their minds over it, which is really fun to see, just like genuine joy about something. Yeah, just people are eating it up. Square Enix gave them like a copy of the game like a month and a half in advance. Like,
oh yeah, Zach sent me a video, a link to a video review on YouTube, which is the reason why it sounds like I know anything about this, by the way. But yeah, that struck me as well, which was that they found diehard people within the fan community of Tactics Ogre, and were like, okay, let's get them a copy 40 days before release. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, and they were releasing, and they just had videos out because it's just a really impressive like fan whoever the community person is who did all the research for this deserves all the praise, because that's something that is really special. Like, hey, here, I know you're a fan, you have 25,000 subs on YouTube, but you make Tactics Ogre content. Please play the game and let me know what you think, and make videos for us. And they gave it to like a bunch of them. So it's like all these dudes are like finding things, talking about it, posting videos, because that's the only way that this community is going to experience this kind of like joy, this huge experience, is if Square Enix did that. If they didn't do that, it'd be kind of like a flub.
They never sent it to us. Basically.
after all of our years of Tactics Ogre fandom.
Yep.
I really
impressive word.
It hurts.
I really hope they do this for Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah,
because it had the same sort of like
engine. It had the same assets. Like,
they had the same like release situation. PlayStation 1 version, a PSP remake, and then fucking just give me a fucking PC rebirth of fucking the PSP game.
Well, like with all
War
these
of the Lions, was it? War of the
Lions.
War of the Lions. Yep.
With all these games that are in the same historical canon that we're doing, heading there, Final Fantasy 16, wink wink, it feels like a natural, like the Tactics is the next one. We have Final Fantasy 14. It's this huge
Square's going through their catalog right now. So
I mean, they gotta fund Babylon's Fall somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
Forspoken is going to make them a lot of money to make. Yeah.
They don't need to make any video games ever again. Final Fantasy 14 pulls in like $100 million from a year, dude. Just chill.
Just chill.
Chill out.
All right, friends. Awesome episode tonight.
We can't hit 2 hours quickly.
We're only an hour and 47.
Something else?
No. We're done. Thank you very much. You can find us sidequesting.com, sidequesting TV on Twitch and YouTube. We're all over every podcast thing. Just look for SideQuesting or the SideQuest. With that said, again, at Dalinovsky, at Taylor Bliss, at the _ whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Twitter's dying. We don't care.
Twitter's dying. Try not doing a single fucking thing to this website for like 5 minutes.
I don't understand this.
That meme, accessibility. We'll see y'all in the next episode of the Side Quest. Apologies.
No.